Hi, I'm Lorenzo. Today I'm going to break down my remix of the Gus and Eddy Podcast theme song. If you haven't listened to my song yet, the link will be in the description. If you want to check out the podcast, I would definitely recommend it. I'll put the link below as well if you want to listen to an episode or just hear the original theme song. And before I get started, I'll show you the setup I'm working with. I make all my music in GarageBand on my phone, which I've got connected to a MIDI keyboard and headphones. So I'll start with the A section, which altogether sounds like this. I manipulated the sample by listening through and slicing up different sections that I liked, and then pulling them out and reordering them into a different melody. And pretty much each one of those individual notes is from a different part of the song. You can see here all these different cuts are those different sections. And then at the end of that section there's a little variation that sounds like this. Another thing I did with the sample is I took the very end of the theme song, that last note where it all kind of fades out, I took that section and reversed it to create this transition sound. And you'll hear that a couple different times throughout the song. Now next I'll show you the drums in this section. And there's one part of the sample that I really like that sounds like this. That drum fill with the toms that goes doo 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 doo. So I wanted to replicate that, but the issue was when I chopped up the sample into those different slices and reordered it, I also put some effects on it that kind of filtered out the low end so you couldn't really hear the toms as well. So what I did is I replicated that same drum fill with my own drums. And so in this way I was able to create kind of the same effect that the original theme song had. The next thing I layered in was the bass. And this is just a stock GarageBand bass through a stock amp. Alright, and for keyboard sounds, there's one main pad that runs throughout the entire song. There's one other keyboard part that comes in on the second half of the A section. It's panned to the right, and it's just kind of some long sustained notes with a bit of pitch bending. It complements the sample melody that I made, and also just kind of adds something interesting to keep the second half of the A section developing and growing. Here's what it sounds like in context with everything else. And so that's the entire A section. And now moving on to the B section, which is a little different. I used a different part of the theme song and I didn't chop it up as much. I kind of just repeated this one part that sounds like this. And so that just kind of goes throughout the entirety of the section. I also changed the snare drum to this sort of rim shot sound. And then in the second half of the B section, I bring in this synthesizer sound that is actually not from GarageBand. It's a synth from the app Figure. I recorded one note and brought it into the GarageBand sampler. probably heard it plays the same rhythm as the theme song, but with different notes, so it sort of harmonizes with the brass, and then in the second half it just plays the exact same melody. So that's pretty much the entire B section, and then the A section repeats twice in a row, and that's the end of the song. The reason I repeated the A section twice is because I liked the way the end of it kind of transitioned back into itself. So when the A section goes to the B section, it sounds like this. So I liked that, but I also liked the way it transitioned back into itself. Yeah, so I repeated the A section again, and then it all fades out as the song ends. So that is how I made my remix of the Gus and Eddy Podcast theme song in GarageBand on my phone. Once again, if you want to listen to the full song, the link is below, as well as a link to the Gus and Eddy Podcast if you want to check out an episode or just hear the original theme song. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.